Hey, fourth grade, how's it going? Welcome back to class. Today we're going to be converting improper fractions to whole numbers and mixed numbers. As you remember from last time, we were able to take those whole numbers and convert them to improper fractions. Now we're going to do just the opposite, okay? We're going to take those improper fractions and convert them to whole numbers. So, let's get started. What we're going to do, boys and girls, is first we're going to go to page 53. The date on the top says July 13th, but that's not correct. Today is August 3rd. Okay, and what we're doing today is we're going to be looking at some improper fractions. You can see those examples right on page 53. We have 5 halves. Now I know that 5 halves equals 4 halves plus 1 half. All right, it's very important that we understand that this number, 5 halves, is equal to 4 plus 1. Okay, now I can break 4 halves up into our whole number just by dividing it. 4 divided by 2 equals 2. So there's my whole number right there. I'm going to put that in my answer blank. Now if we look at our fraction that's left over, 1 half just gets transferred over to our answer blank as well. So our answer is 2 and 1 half. For letter B, we have 17 tenths. Now, 17 tenths is a larger number than just a regular whole number, right? We have the whole number and we have the fraction. You can see our whole number is 10 tenths. Now, 10 tenths is the same thing as 1. And 7 tenths is our fraction that's left over. So, what's 1 plus 7 tenths? Well, 1 plus 7 tenths is 1 and 7 tenths. It's that easy. You'll notice that with this fraction right here, 10 tenths, 10 over 10 equals 1. Any number over itself equals 1. So let's say I have, for example, 3 over 3. 3 over 3 is also going to equal 1. Or, for example, 4 over 4. 4 fourths also equals 1. All right, let's go on to letter C. Letter C says 7 sixths. Well, I know that I can break this up into our whole number, which is 6 sixths plus some other fraction. What number plus 6 equals 7? Well, I know that 1 plus 6 equals 7. So we have 6 sixths plus 1 sixth, which equals 7 sixths. I know that 6 sixths equals 1, and 1 plus 1 sixth equals 1 and 1 sixth. So that's going to be our final answer, 1 and 1 sixth. All right, let's do that last problem. Letter D. Letter D says 7 thirds. That improper fraction includes a whole number and another fraction. So what would be our whole number? Well, if you remember from the first couple of examples, any number over itself is going to equal 1. So 3 thirds equals 1. Or, for example, we have 5 fifths equals 1. So in this case, I could do 3 thirds. But I'm actually going to do 6 thirds instead. 3 thirds plus 3 thirds equals 6 thirds. And if I add one more third, I'm going to come up with 7 thirds. 1 plus 6 equals 7. So I'm just going to start out right away with 6/3. Let's try that. Let's start right away with 6/3. Instead of putting 3/3 there, my whole number is actually going to be larger than 1. It's going to be 2 whole numbers. Let me explain why. If we start out by saying 7/3 equals 6/3 plus 1/3, I know that 1 plus 6 equals 7. Right? I have my 7/3 right there. And 6/3 is the same thing as 6 divided by 3. 6 divided by 3 equals 2. So 6/3 equals 2. Now what's 2 plus 1/3? Well, 2 plus 1/3 equals 2 and 1/3. So my answer is 2 and 1/3. Boys and girls, check your answers on page 53 to see if they're correct. All right, let's go on to the next problem. We're going to continue to stay on page 53. Let's do letter E. Letter E says 11/5. Well, I know that 11/5 is the same thing as 5/5 plus 5/5 plus 1/5, because 1 plus 5 plus 5 equals 11. Now, how do I combine 5/5? Well, I can say that 5/5 is the same thing as 10/5. So, since I know 10/5 plus 1/5 equals 11/5, I can find my whole number and my fraction. I know that 10/5 plus 1/5 is the same thing as 11/5. 10/5 equals 2 plus 1/5 equals 2 and 1/5. That's your final answer. Let's do letter F. Letter F says 9/4. 9/4. I know that 9/4 is the same thing as 5/4 plus 4/4, because 5 plus 4 equals 9. But I also know that what we can do is split this up into a whole number, a larger whole number than just 1. We could also say that 9/4 equals 8/4 plus another quantity of fourths. What number plus 8 equals 9? 1. Now, since I know that 8 plus 1 equals 9, I can take this as my whole number, and I know that 8 divided by 4 equals 2. So this is 2, my whole number. 2 plus 1/4 is the same thing as 2 and 1/4. There's your final answer, 2 and 1/4. All right, let's do letter G. What I'd like you to do is pause the video and do letter G and H on your own, and then unpause the video to check your answers. All right, hopefully you paused the video and you're able to do letters G and H on your own. Letter G says 11/8. I know that 11/8 is the same thing as 8/8 plus, what number plus 8 equals 11? 3/8. And I know that 8/8 equals 1 plus 3/8, which equals 1 3/8. There's your whole number and your fraction to make your final mixed number. All right, let's check letter H. Letter H says 9/2. Now, 9/2 is the same thing as 8/2 plus 1/2. We could also say, for example, it's the same thing as 5/2 plus 4/2. But for simplicity's sake, we're going to go with the first example, because that'll give us a larger whole number to begin with. So 8/2 equals 4, because 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Now I also know that 1/2 plus 4 equals 4 1/2. There we go. We finished our problem. Our answer is 4 1/2. Nice job. We're going to continue to do more and more problems like this in order for us to understand how to change improper fractions to mixed numbers or whole numbers. What I'm going to do, boys and girls, is I'm going to show you a game that is very useful. You can take a look at this game whenever you have time so that you can practice the concept of whole numbers and fractions. This game is on Splash Learn. Okay, the link will be inside of the video notes, so you can check this out. It'll help you understand equivalent fractions, as well as understanding what fractions equal 1 or are greater than 1, such as regular fractions or improper fractions. So, check that out. We will see you later, boys and girls. Have a great week.